Jessie Harrison, welcome to the Smart
Thank
Nutrition Made
you.
Simple show. Great to have
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be
Oh,
here.
it's great to have you here. I'm excited to share. I'm excited to share your experience with our listeners. You are hot off a competition from Thailand.
Yes.
It's about a month ago. You've had a number of things going on, so I'd love to jump into that. But let's share most recently, what did you have going on in Thailand?
So in Thailand, I was competing in a world handgun championship. And that's basically our Olympics for our shooting sports. And for any listeners who aren't aware of what that is I travel around the world and I compete with firearms, handguns only. And it's a very physical sport. There's a lot of running and gunning. We shoot a mix of paper targets, still targets. You have to be the fastest and most accurate. So efficiency is key. And I've been shooting for 22 years now. 2023 will be my 23rd season. And Thailand is the pinnacle of my shooting sport. We have to qualify for 2 years to earn a slot for the USA. And then we travel with our country to wherever the World Shoot is located. It changes countries every 3 years. And we go and represent our country with a team and also as an individual. And I went over and placed second, silver medal for individual in my division in ladies. And then my team, we won gold for the USA. So it was, it was a long year of training, as you know, and everything paid off as much as it could in the end. There were a few things out of my control, unfortunately, but you have to do the best you can in those situations. So.
Well, that's amazing in and of itself. Silver and a gold for the team. And we're all very, very proud of you. And I know you put an incredible amount of time and energy. And I don't think anyone, it's hard to do justice to what the training process really looks like for an athlete like you. Even if we were to compare it to the Olympics, I think that a lot of people have this idea that that's all that you do is you just train and you've got every day, all day long for just practicing, for doing your physical training, for having structured nutrition and all of the intricacies therein. And I think generally speaking, for the vast majority of not only your sport, but Olympians in general, that's actually not the case. You've got real world day-to-day responsibilities and lifestyles that draw you in different directions to the degree that you really have to navigate all of those nuances and still try and come out on top.
Yes, 100%. Even this entire year while prepping for World Shoot, I was also planning my wedding.
Right.
And my husband and I, he's a competitive shooter as well. He qualified for USA team. So we were traveling to Thailand together. We got married November 11th and took off to Thailand November 23rd. Right. So there was a lot going on this year. When we have a World Shoot year, we pack in more matches to get match experience and more training. But like you said, there's a lot of life that happens in between going to the range, because that's my office, going to the gym, that's my second office, trying to figure out how to balance that time with family time or friends or relaxation or just personal time, anything. There's a lot of factors that go into this. And like you said, it's not seen a lot of the time, especially in our sport, because we're considered an unprofessional sport or an amateur sport. So there's not a spotlight shining on what I'm doing every day behind the scenes and the sacrifices we make to get to this point. But the people that are close to me, as I speak to you weekly and check in, and you keep me on the fitness lane. But there's so much that goes into just what I do that a lot of people don't know about. So it's exciting to be able to shed some light on it here.
Well, it's exciting for me to be able to share it as well. And I applaud you, for all of the efforts. You're very humble in the way that you speak about it, and just in the caliber of athlete that you are. And frankly, like I don't even, for the first 6 or 8 months of us working together. I don't know anything about your sport and shooting in general. And so, I understand that you're obviously a high performance athlete, and it's all the same either way, but the way that you approach this is just very professional. There's no ego whatsoever. And And so I appreciate that as a coach. Now, we had an interesting kind of runway to this world championship, because it would be one thing if it was just like, we're just preparing for the pinnacle of performance. And this is what we call peaking in, our industry, especially, well, whether it relates to a physique or whether it relates to a sport. The interesting thing for you is we were peaking in two different areas at the same time. Is we were peaking you for a physique for your wedding, and we were trying to peak you for your performance for obviously world championships, which the two can, as I, alluded to at the very beginning of us working together, is like the two can really rub heads, because if you're depleted in order to, be at your optimal physique, then obviously that's going to impact your energy and your performance. Similarly, like we need you to be the most explosive, fastest athlete that you can be, agile athlete that you can be. In the same time, that's not necessarily what's going to be represented from a lean physique. So what was your experience in kind of the dichotomy that we had to do in building up to this?
So honestly, I had to just give so much trust to you and the program that you set up for me, to know that I have thoroughly explained my goals to you, and that you were going to take those and do the best you can to set me up for success in both areas. And like you said, to look thin and skinny and feel comfortable in my body for wedding day is the probably polar opposite of what I was trying to achieve for maximum performance for my sport and my career. And through working with you and just the year that we've been together so far, I learned so much about what I want to achieve, physical goals, and what I want my body to look like, and what I want to be able to do performance wise. And it's so different than what I came into this thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to lose some weight. Right. I've lost maybe 5 pounds in the year, but my body composition has changed, has done a 180. And that's where because I've tried every program out there. I've worked with other trainers. I've tried every diet that's popped up on the scene, and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And what I found with working with you is I just completely told you, I don't know what I don't know, and that's dangerous. And I've gone down this path of I need to work as hard as I can work, and I'm going to eat as little as I can eat. And I think that was the biggest hurdle with me, is trying to make me eat more, because in my mind, I've just been ingrained of you can't eat as much as you want, because that's going to make you gain weight, and you don't want to gain all this muscle. You'll look bulky, or, so I really just had to retrain my brain and the thinking and understanding of how things work, and realize that I know nothing in this area. This is your expertise. I need to trust you 100%. I've explained to you what I'm looking for, and you're going to put me on that path to success. And it honestly took a year to get to that end result of what I was looking for. I remember telling you probably 2 weeks before the wedding, I was like, I don't know what's happening, but it is just popping all of a sudden. Everything fell into place. And you're like, dude, it's just the program. It's the work you've put into it. It's finally coming together. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is there's no shortcut. There's no easy way to do this. There's no diet pill. There's no 2-week plan. You will not have a healthy fitness schedule or plan with any of those things that I just mentioned. And it truly took me almost a full year to not to see any changes or differences, but to get to where I set my goal and to make changes within my mind that are lifelong changes. And I now fully understand, or have a much better understanding of what I need to do to fuel my body for what I do as an athlete for my career, and to help have a healthier relationship with my body and what I put it through, instead of trying to starve myself to death and work myself to death. So that's been my journey with you, and it has been incredible. There's been times I'm in the gym, I'm like, Ben, I hate this right now. Or I'm trying to make myself eat. I'm like, I can't eat another bite. But it's been a learning process, and it's been incredible because I've learned so much about myself. I've seen the changes come through that I have been struggling to find for over 10 years. So in a year, and that sounds like a long time to a lot of people, especially when you're just starting out. But I mean, if it's to have those physical changes that are going to ingrain in your mind that will be a lifestyle change. I mean, you didn't create these bad habits overnight. So what makes me think I'm going to change these habits overnight?
How long did it take you to become a proficient shooter?
I've been doing it for 22 years and I'm still learning.
Right. That's exactly it. And I love how you framed that, because it truly has been a significant, as it is for everyone. And I'm glad that, I'm really glad to hear you acknowledging that, because, to be fair, like, it took time just to get you into that mindset of trying to understand and comprehend what it is that we're working towards. And, there was definitely periods of time where I don't think it was clicking, and a lot of encouragement on my end and pushback and challenge from my end, and talking you off the ledge. I remember those days of, and you just being like, trying to understand and wanting to understand what it is that we're doing, but almost wanting to resort back to the things that you had tried in the past, and perhaps, subconsciously resorting to some of those things. But truly, this is a significant mindset shift to understand the big picture. And I think it's really analogous to be talking about competition, Olympics as a great example of something that you really are planning and preparing for a significant period of time, a year, 2 years, 4 years of a period of time where you're building up to something, and changing our nutrition, our behaviors, our fitness is not dissimilar to that level of effort and thought process. Right. And so, from where you were at the beginning, I mean, I'd love for you to share kind of because you mentioned you'd tried all of the diets, you'd restrictive diet, and you tried to overly aggressive exercise. What do you think were the big differentiators when you first got started, perhaps that you were reticent about, or maybe that were just very different in terms of the way that we were doing things?
No, I think the biggest thing was the meal tracking. I've worked with meal trackers before, and I guess I expected when we came into this was you were going to give me a meal plan, and I was going to make every meal every day according to that plan. And that was going to be the nutrition side of things. And what you showed me was, you're not going to give me a meal plan. You're going to give me parameters, and I have to figure out what best is going to fill that. And that was one of the biggest things for me, is because I felt like I know how to work out. I can go to the gym. I can perform all these exercises. I like to have someone lay it out and tell me what to do, but I can figure the gym out. The nutrition was the side that I have no idea. And the only thing I knew was, like you said, just restrict my calories and work harder. And it just got me nowhere, because I wasn't feeling my body the way I need to. I think when you did my onboard for the first 2 weeks, and I just tracked everything I ate normally, I think, if I remember correctly, I was eating 1,000 or less calories a day. That's insane. Now, after going through what I know now, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, how did I even get out of bed? How did I have the energy to go to the range every day and go to the gym and do all of this? Like, I wasn't fueling my body properly. So that was probably one of the things that was most eye-opening for me, and that I had to figure out and learn how to navigate, was the nutrition part of this, with the tracking and not having an exact meal plan, because I travel so much. So as soon as I leave the comforts of my house and have everything there prepared and ready to go, I get out of the house, and then I don't know how to control myself. I don't know how to navigate ordering food out in a restaurant or at fast food or anything. So that was probably one of the biggest things for me, that was a challenge in the beginning, but truly helped me see everything as we went further along.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so pivotal, is helping you establish awareness and establish autonomy over the process. Is like, listen, you have to be the owner of your choices here. And having been down this road for long enough, is like, I could have given you a meal plan, and you probably would have adhered to it on the nose for a couple of weeks, but then you would have had a competition out of town. You wouldn't have had access to the recommended foods. And then what? You would have said, screw it, and kind of fallen off the wagon. and flip-flopped on and off, and it would have been overly frustrating and stressful for both of us. And instead is, why not learn how to develop the tools to be able to make the best decisions possible for regardless of where you are. I mean, you just got back from a hunting trip. You were obviously abroad for a few weeks. You haven't had any considerable setbacks, despite the fact that you got married. You were on your honeymoon. And so this is the proverbial teach a man to fish, right? And feed him for a lifetime. And so that's exactly what we're looking to do. And then by that same token, I know you know how to do things and you can get by in the gym, but what have your observations been over the past year there?
So with y'all's training process, I love having the constant support. Not being in person, that was one of my biggest concerns, because my best girlfriend, Michelle Viscusi, she sent me to you, and she tried to send me to you for about a year before I actually reached out. She's like, just call Ben, work with Ben. I was like, he's in Arizona. How is he going to help me? So I was very cautious of how personal training would go with being remote, because I'm in Georgia. And after talking to you on the phone and you laying out the system that y'all have in place, we have weekly updates, we have the coaching app, the fitness app, and everything that you load all my workouts, it has a video to show me exactly what I need to be doing. You're in touch if I need you. If I shoot you a question, hey, I'm not getting the results, or I don't feel like I'm doing this properly. So I have the communication with you and the support as if I was going and working out with you on a regular basis, like a personal trainer. And I think that is, for me, that's the biggest thing, is having the communication and support, and also having you push me, because like you said, there's days and there were conversations to where I had a list of excuses for why I wasn't getting my steps in, or why I didn't meet my macros for this day, or why I'm not pushing hard enough to lift more weight on these exercises. And you not being afraid to tell me, hey, quit being lazy, quit giving excuses. If you really break down your day, there's time to do this and you can do it. I think a lot of people will build up a wall of excuses. And if they have a trainer or someone they're working with, a lot of times people are afraid to push through that wall to really get them the results they want. And what I love about working with you is you don't care about the wall. The excuses, just throw them out the window. Don't show up. If I make one up, you're going to call me out on it. And that's been extremely important to me, because there's days I don't feel like going to the gym, or I don't feel like doing this, but I'm like, well, if I don't, Ben's going to see it and he's going to say something. So I better just get up and do it. So like I said, just having the support, having someone who's not afraid to push me, because I've told you what my goals are and you're helping me get there, instead of just like putting kid gloves on with me and holding my hand as I walk to the gym doing this. Like you're really trying to get me to my goal. And I think that's most important, because it's not an easy road. And as a trainer, I'm sure you have a lot of personalities to navigate and how to help people in the most effective way possible. And that's where you have to put the hat on to say, you know what? Nope, I'm not accepting these excuses today. So right. I think just your knowledge of the fitness, nutrition, health world. I'm not sure what the proper term for that would be, but
that's fair.
Just your knowledge of everything far surpasses anyone I've worked with. And I think that's the biggest thing as well. You have a great understanding of what you ask people to do, instead of saying, oh yeah, I think this will work for you. Let's try that. I feel like you fully researched what I do, whether you did or not, or just saw some videos. You took the time to invest in what my interests and goals are, and then turn that around into what your knowledge of what I need, and set me up on a program. How you laid out a whole year's worth and timed it just right, but it was perfect. So your knowledge and experience in this arena is greater than anyone I've worked with. And to look back at the year we had for 2022, we started in November of 21. I signed on November 21, and we had the full year of 2022. And when you sent over that year layout of, okay, this is what we're working on up until your wedding and world shoot, I looked at it, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. Like, how can he plan this out a year in advance? And how, it's overwhelming to look at. But your experience in all of this, it timed out perfectly. Everything aligned just as you said it would. And like I said in the beginning, I had to fully put my trust in you that you knew exactly what you were talking about. I had seen results that Michelle had achieved with you. So going into it, I knew, okay, this guy knows what he's legit, because there's so many false trainers out there. And I see it in my world as well. So, for anyone who might be on the fence or thinking about training that's listening to this, or has people that might be in that same situation, I 100% put my stamp on approval of BSL Nutrition and Ben himself. I've lived through a year of training and nutrition support, everything. And I reached the exact goals I set out to reach, but I feel like I even surpassed them because of the knowledge and the understanding that I've obtained through that year is not something I expected to gain. So I think from what I've seen, your training program produces results 100%.
Well, I appreciate that. I think we can probably just call the podcast right then and there. Geez, no need to go on, but legitimately, listen, I really appreciate all of that. Jessie, I really do. But at the end of the day, is you're the one that shows up and does the work. And so it really is credibility to the effort that you put in. Is I can lay out plans all day long, and I do, but the vast majority of people stray from the plan by virtue of it just not truly being a priority for them. So for you to acknowledge that this is something that you really truly wanted for yourself. I mean, listen, you're a fierce competitor and an athlete, and it's just part of who you are. And so understanding that, being able to challenge you, being able for you to accept criticism and constructive criticism in a way that works for you was necessary. And with that is we were able to navigate the path. It was definitely undulating. And in no way is it ever, for anyone listening, and never is it like, we'll do this phase and this phase and this phase, and it's going to go smooth and it's going to be this linear trajectory. It's always laced with landmines. And, for you, it was so much of like your travel schedule, eating on the go. And then you had a wedding related stuff, and you had like, I swear, a month of like bachelorette parties. And I don't know how many parties you guys have for one freaking event, but I mean, so you have a real life within that. And what I'm excited about now is, we had an extremely successful year. And now is like, we're in this beautiful opportunity that you truly have embraced, right? Finally, like embraced the structure, and how effective it is when you are, consistently putting in work, being aware of your decisions, making better choices, training hard consistently. And so now we've got a runway of exponential opportunity moving forward, just to continue, right? Like becoming a proficient shooter, just to continue to get better and better and improve our skills. And I think, that ultimately is what this nutrition, fitness, health road is all about, is just overcoming these obstacles, changing your mindset, and truly committing to the process of where it is you want to go. And then always moving the goalposts, right? Always looking out to the horizon, say, what can I do next? What can I do next? And embracing kind of how you change as a person throughout the process. With that said, it's like, what are the next, share what the next opportunities for growth are for you as you see it?
Well, like as soon as I got home from Thailand and hopped on my weekly check-in call with you, I said, this was great. Everything worked. We did it in a year. Now we have 3 years. So the next world shoot will be 2025. It'll be in South Africa. So I'm really looking forward to having more time to work harder and focus on certain areas that I want to grow and progress as a shooter, and just as a person who is aging in life. I'm considered a veteran of my sport now. I'm an old lady in my sport. Right. I'm shooting against girls half my age. So that is a whole new mindset and set of challenges for me that I have to figure out. Okay, I used to go out on the range when I was a kid, shoot 1,000 rounds a day. Didn't really have to work out. I just had natural reflexes and could move and do good. And now I'm like, well, I'm going to go shoot maybe 300-400 rounds a day. I've got to go to the gym. I've got to get all my nutrition ready. I've got to do all this stuff. So I have to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. And that's something I'm looking forward to working with you as well as we continue to move forward in, okay, I need to get better. I want to be faster. I want to be stronger for shooting. I need to be better and healthier and stronger as I get older and keep those levels maintained, just for my life in general. So that's my goal now, is to just see how much further we can keep pushing that bar. And so that I'm not having to next year say, you know what, oh, I'm 30, I'll be 38 now, and I'm too old for this. I'm not too old for this. Right here, I still have it. And right here, I still have it. So we've got to get the physical shell that carries all of that ready.
Well, you've got a good mindset around
teenagers.
Well, you know what? The good news is I've seen how they treat their fitness and their nutrition, and you are far, far and away ahead of where they are. So let's keep this interview under wraps so that they don't find out the secrets here. And I think this carries over to anything in every sport, is if athletes were actually taking into consideration their daily nutrition behaviors, their sleep, their lifestyle, their stress management, their training, efficacy, supplementation, they'd be better athletes, but they'd also have a lot more longevity, less injury prevention, all of those types of things. So despite the fact that it took you a little while, you're making considerable change. And so again, applaud you for that and appreciate the opportunity to work with you, and have learned a ton from you. So I'm ecstatic when I have the ability to work with someone of your caliber, and let's just continue to keep on crushing.
Thank you. Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Anything else that you want to leave with our listeners? You've done a beautiful job of praising me. I don't want it to be about me or the program, but just maybe an aha about your experience over the last year, or words of wisdom that perhaps someone listening could take away with.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, especially for women, when it comes to fitness and health and trying to set a goal and obtain it, it can be very intimidating. It can be very overwhelming. And I think as a society, we've gotten so accustomed to immediate results and seeing something happen, like, oh, I went and walked today. Oh, I should have lost some weight. I think just trying to strip your mindset of this immediate gratification when it comes to health and fitness. I think that was my biggest hurdle. And that's something that if I could tell anyone anything, I would say there's no easy way to do this. You're not going to take a pill and lose weight overnight. You're not going to cut out a food group and be skinny the rest of your life. You're not going to, go lift a few weights and have all the muscle gains that you're looking for. This is a daily decision that I have to wake up every single morning and say, I'm going to make all the decisions that I know I need to make to obtain the goals that I want, that I've set for myself. And whether that's for my competition or someone who's wanting to lose weight, someone who's wanting to put on muscle, someone who's just wanting to be healthier overall and have a better lifestyle, it's something you have to decide every day, because there's so many temptations out there. The couch, for one, to sit on it, the food in the grocery store that is not healthy, the parties that you go to with the drinks. And I mean, there's so many things out there that will pull you away from any goal that you've chosen to set for yourself. So I would just tell people you have to choose these things for yourself every day. There's nothing out there that is going to get you something overnight, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but anything worth working for and obtaining is never easy. You have to have some strife or some uphill battle or something to make, when you do reach that point, to make you appreciate it. If you didn't, then there would be no reason to strive for it. So I think just set your goals and know that, you know what, you're going to have some days that are tough, but if you stick to it and put in the work, and if you're with BSL Nutrition, you're going to have the opposite support that you need outside of yourself, what you have to do every day showing up. But I think you have to put in the work and have to know that this is a choice that you're making for yourself, and you have to make it every single day.
Very well said. And I think a great message to leave with our listeners. So I appreciate you sharing that. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time and energy and wisdom, and we'll catch up soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Ben.